Hey everybody, it's Party Elite kicking off a brand new miniseries today with Port Royale 4. This is actually the channel's first ever sponsored series, so a massive thanks goes out to the folks over at Calypso for sponsoring the series and for allowing me the opportunity to showcase the game. I've been excited for it since it was first announced because it tackles topics that I find extremely fascinating. It's all about trade, building your own trade empire, and everything that comes with it. Piracy, embargoes, diplomacy, warfare. It's a historical setting. It's really right up my alley. So very excited to dive in. And as I do, I just want to mention for those of you who are curious, the game is already out. It's available now for PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. And in early 2021, it'll be available for the Switch as well. I am playing the PC version here, and if you're curious to learn more about the game or perhaps pick it up for yourself, you can check out the link in the description down below. It'll be the same link that is in the pinned comment down below as well. With all that said, let's dive on in, shall we? So there is a campaign you can play, or, well, I should also touch on this here. There is a rather comprehensive series of tutorials that cover all of the game's basic mechanics. I have already done them. I did them when the game was in beta, so don't mind the fact that there are no check marks over here. I am familiar with the game's systems, and we can dive on into the action. Now, as I was saying earlier, there are some campaigns that you can play as either Spain, England, the Netherlands, or France. You have to play the Spanish campaign first, and that unlocks the rest of the campaigns. And the campaigns are, a little bit more driven. They have objectives that are preset. They have a bit of a storyline going for them, and a good campaign is all well and good, of course, but if you're even remotely familiar with this channel, you will know that I have an inclination to sandbox modes. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. That's what we're going to be kicking off for this series, is a free game. Yes, I'm fine with skipping the tutorials. I am familiar with how things work, more or less, I hope. So let's dive in. Now, in this sandbox mode, you're still able to choose from those very same nations, but as I flip through these, you'll notice a couple of things. For one, each of these nations kind of has its own specialization, what it's good at, what it sort of leans towards, I suppose is the way to put it. No debuffs in particular, but just, again, particular specializations. But apart from that, they also each have their own unique ships. These ships are historically authentic. There are, I believe, 18 different ships. They're all period appropriate as well for the 16th, 17th centuries, and they include not just ships for trade, which are, pretty important for a trade empire in this part of the world, but they are also, if the names didn't give it away, military in nature. There is naval warfare. You do get engaged in sort of turn-based tactical battles, and we will be exploring that in this miniseries as well. If the title didn't give it away, the plan for this miniseries is to dominate the production and distribution of rum. I feel like there is a lot of fun to be had there, because it's not just about being rich, being wealthy, and just having a stable trade empire, but it is specific to being the only name in rum. And there's so much you can explore and do with that. You can, through piracy, you can stop other people from producing rum. You can cut off their supplies of raw materials like the sugar and the wood that's needed to make rum. You can even cut them off from delivering rum. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a lot to do. You can tell why I'm excited by this idea, because there's a lot we can explore and do, and it should tie into all elements of the game. From piracy to proper trade and all that. So for that purpose, to that end, we will be from England. Our faster work in shipyards should help us build a larger fleet faster, whether it is a trade ship or a ship for warfare. It should help us a little bit there, and the reduced construction cost for military frigates and ship of the line should be helpful as well. The warfare, again, I think will come later on down the line. Initially, it's all going to be about setting up our trade networks, and, well, I'll get into it when we get into it. So we're playing as England, and within the nations, you can choose one of 4 character archetypes. There's the adventurer, there's the merchant, I'm going to wait for the models to update as well, because they are quite nice models too. So the Adventurer, the Merchant, the Buccaneer, and the Piratess. And as you may have noticed as I was flipping through these, they all have here their own buffs and debuffs. And these will, again, depending on your playstyle, you will want to combine nation with character class accordingly, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, how you're trying to play through it, because some of these are, they can be game changers. For example, reduced loss of fame for acts of piracy is a big deal. So if you want to go, if it's the pirate's life for you, then the Piratess makes sense. So that's pretty neat. We are, for our own interests here, going to play as the Merchant. The Merchant does not require a trade license. Now, typically when you want to trade with a settlement, in order to have access to their goods and whatnot, you have to pay some money to get a license, otherwise you can't trade with them. But playing as the Merchant, we don't have to worry about that, so that's a little bit of cost savings. Apart from that, we're also able to trade with all nations, even when war has broken out. Now, even though that's the case, if war has broken out, we still have to be wary about enemy military vessels. They can still attack us and cause us issues, but we will still be able to trade with their settlements. But an important sort of negative here is that combat vessels will be a bit more expensive for us. Hopefully, again, that will be a part of our playthrough later on, maybe when we're a bit more established, and so hopefully we don't have to worry about that so much. So yeah, the Merchant, I think, makes most sense. You are able to name yourself whatever you'd like, but I'm going to just go ahead and pick our... I mean, come on. How can I say no to Captain Morgan? Alright, well, that settles it. We are Enya Morgan. She is nifty, courageous, thirsty for adventures, and there is no deal she misses out on, no matter whether friend or foe. As a trader, she is esteemed and respected among all nations, which is why all ports are open to her, even when there is no entrance for others anymore. Well, that's a nice way to translate the mechanics into a paragraph form. But anyway, let's go ahead and do one last important thing over here. Set our flag color, and our emblem shall be the barrel of rum. That way, when people gaze out into the horizon and they see our flag flying, they know exactly what's coming for them. Rum. Where'd you go, buddy? There you are. Boom. Yeah, this works a lot better as a color combination. All right. Next step. Now, I should have mentioned this before, but I'll mention it now. Folks, there's a lot of setup stuff that goes on in a game like this, especially in sandbox mode. If you're already familiar with all this stuff, or you're otherwise just wanting to dive into the action, there are timestamps in the description down below, and you should be able to see them along the little play bar down below as well. If you want to dive into the action, you can go ahead and dive right into the action. If you're interested in learning how this all works and what it all means, then by all means, join me as we talk about these settings and everything. So of course, setting up a sandbox means sandbox settings. Just in terms of everything over here, the first step is your nation's distribution of towns. It can either be regular, which is probably what we're going to go with, or you can go all the way down to very small, or to to large. By the way, you can see the key over here, just an explanation of what you're looking at. You can see how our nation's size changes based on this distribution of towns setting over here. We're going to stick with regular. Distribution itself is, think of it as different presets for which towns belong to who, and it determines, what kind of resources you're more likely to get or not get, where you're likely to trade or not trade. There's a lot of stuff that is affected by where you're going and where you're working, so that makes a pretty big difference. And the hometown is the town that is actually under your own administration right at the beginning. Now, tempting as it is to do Tortuga, I'm going to go ahead and stick with the namesake here, Port Royale. Royale rum from Captain Morgan, sure, why not? So we're going to go and stick with Port Royale, a rather central location-ish over here, easy access to settlements across the board. But basically, we will have administration over this town, which means we'll have a lot of control over this one hometown at the beginning, and we can gain administration rights over other towns as we go on. Now, starting funds, money, and how many vessels you start with. It is easier. Easier is a strong word. It is faster to start with more vessels, because then you're able to trade more, you're able to move more goods, etc., etc. I think we're going to go ahead and start with the one vessel and do a true kind of like rags to riches story over here, riding on rum, rags to riches. But yeah, 100,000 gold, one vessel, should be good. And that way we can also highlight some of those initial challenges a lot more, I think, which, I love that kind of stuff, right? Task list. Now, even though this is a sandbox mode, the tasks, you are given tasks by the Viceroy. The Viceroy is the big boss of your country's mission here. So they have their own town as well. You can see our Viceroy is going to be at Santo Domingo, and from time to time, they will provide you with missions. And you can do those missions for a variety of benefits. Typically, or I think always, it's fame points. And we'll touch on that in a bit as well. Mixed, military, economical, or none. I'm going to go ahead and stick with mixed. We're likely not going to partake in military ones at the beginning, but as things get more intense and as we develop our empire, we will most certainly get involved with military operations as well. Resources can have different types of distributions, from even to random to actual kind of regional distribution. So we're going to stick with regional distribution. And discover towns is, I think, the one setting that I'm going to change. When it's on, you actually have to, apart from your home nation, you have to go to the other cities to find them and discover what they produce and what they need. I'm going to turn that off, just so that we're able to see all the cities all at once and we're able to plan and plot more easily. And in my head canon, if we're a merchant, we should already be somewhat familiar with this kind of thing, I'm just saying. But yeah, that's discover towns on or off. And the level of difficulty you can see over here has been customized, and that's because I have adjusted some of the settings here. Everything here is regular default settings, but I've turned trade routes to be with automation. You can have them without automation, or you can have them with automation. And what I've found is that when you have with automation turned on, you can still turn it off later on, whereas you can't do the flip. So we're going to go ahead and say with automation. Keep the filling level indicator on. Naval battles are going to be regular. Again, I don't think I'm ready for very hard naval battles in this game just yet. But yeah, there are turn-based tactical naval battles, which we will most certainly be seeing and partaking in. I think we're all good to start the game. I believe so. So yeah, we are, again, there's about, what is it? I think it's about like 60 or so cities or something. We are the administrator of Port Royale. Our Viceroy works out of Santo Domingo. We're in a pretty centralized location. We'll see what the circumstances end up in terms of alliances, wars, and things like that, and what waters are safe for us to travel through, and what waters are not. Folks, let's begin. All right, folks, here we are at Port Royale, in Port Royale, eager to establish our empire. But before we can have a full-fledged and flourishing Rum Empire, we have to first develop its foundations. After all, as the saying goes, rum wasn't built in a day. Now, this game has a bunch of intertwined systems and mechanics to discuss, and I could go over them, one after the other right now, but I think it'd be much better for us to actually go through the game, play the game, and as those mechanics become relevant, I'll, do a little deepish dive into them to explain what's relevant at the time, and that way we can make progress in the game and make progress towards this Rum Empire that I'm hoping to establish very quickly, while also understanding what's going on. Kind of crucial, I would think. So the first order of business is to discuss Port Royale itself. This is our hometown, and that means we are its administrator. It is the one town we start the game as the administrator of. Over the course of the game, you can end up as the administrator of multiple towns, but it is a bit of a process, and there are a few ways you can take on that role. We can go around to any of the towns, and as we trade with the towns, giving them what they need, and we'll touch on that in a bit as well, we'll increase our fame in the town, and once the fame reaches a certain amount, we'll be able to get a building permit for that town. At that point, we can start establishing businesses, and once we establish our businesses, we can move up the ladder and eventually become the administrator of a town. There are other ways. Through war, for example, you can gain administration, but given our merchant background, chances are we'll be focusing on the trade route. Huh? God. We'll be focusing on the trade angle, though, you know, we'll see how the story develops. If wartime efforts grant us some more administration opportunities, then we'll take them on if they're relevant, by which I mean we will be seeking out some of those opportunities, particularly with cities that are maybe conducive to our end goal, right? We want to have a monopoly on rum. That means that maybe we want to own all the cities where we can have businesses that are, you know, that produce rum or that produce the raw materials for rum. That way we can control the entire supply chain. But that's me thinking way down the line. Let's stay a little bit more focused than that, shall we? So I mentioned a couple of things like establishing businesses. The thing is, this game, the cities in this game, they're not just little like dots on the map for you to trade with. They are actually active settlements. And not just that, but you can actually go in and build buildings, including, you know, residential areas, taverns, hospitals, churches, things like that to help keep the people happy. But you can also establish businesses, as I was saying earlier. And these businesses are owned by you. So the town itself will produce its own stuff, but you can actually directly own some of the businesses in a town and further your profits by manipulating how those businesses are operated, or how they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Given preferential treatment or what have you. So there's a whole other layer there. So when I say we want to have a Rum Empire, I mean end-to-end Rum Empire controlled by us. It is a lofty goal, which is why I like it so much, because I don't know I don't know what the chances are of it being successful, but it'll be fun to try. Now, if we actually click on any one of these cities' names, we'll get an information panel. But because Port Royale is ours, let's focus on this one. There's a lot of information over here. The key pieces for us to consider right now, though, is the situation with inhabitants and satisfaction, and a little tips section down over here. My first goal, the first stepping stone to this, you know, glamorous and glorious trade empire, is to have more ships. Right now, we only have the one. But to get more ships, we need to have access to a not a repair dock. A repair dock is what we start with over here. We need for ourselves a shipyard. But a shipyard can only be built when a town has at least 3,000 inhabitants. So there's a bit of an issue there, because of course over here we only have 1,500. To get to that 3,000, not only do we need to provide more jobs at Port Royale, but we also need to make sure that people are happy at Port Royale. See, right now, of the 1,500 plus inhabitants, 380 are actual workers. The rest are, you know, kids or people who aren't working for whatever reason. And even though there is still room for new people to move here, you can see that there is a little bit of unemployment. People tend to move to places where jobs are available, and beyond that, they tend to move to places where satisfaction is high. Satisfaction is a result of events, housing situation, meaning the setup you have in the town itself, but also the supply of commodities, which is the biggest contributor to satisfaction. And that means that the people have what they need and what they want. Now, it's a little front heavy, I know, but once we get past some of these really core mechanics that I have to describe, we'll get we'll it'll be smooth sailing. I'm sorry. But yeah, so every town, as you can see when I hover over them, every town produces a variety of goods. And it's based on a variety of factors, including the land itself. For example, fruits can only be grown where fruits can be grown, or the same goes for corn. Certain raw materials can only be found in certain parts of the world. So there are goods that are produced because of local possibilities, and then there are other goods that are produced by or through a process. For example, luxury items over here require ceramics and metalware to produce some luxury items. Or if we, I believe there is, who's producing, I thought I saw rum. Yeah, there we go, rum over here. So these guys over here are producing rum, and you need sugar and wood to do so. Locally, they don't have sugar and wood, so they're probably importing that to produce rum, which then can be exported elsewhere. Anyway, towns produce based on their locality and the businesses that are established at that town. So again, for example, if we go ahead and seek out, where was the rum? Why is the rum gone? There we go, fine. Over here, over at Trinidad. So they will have a rum distillery here, which is producing the rum, if I could just find it. But point being, I mean, you can see as I'm hovering over the carpenter, we've got the sawmill up there. This is a tavern down here, another tavern over here. Where's your rum distillery? There we go, the rum distillery over here. So they have a business which is producing that rum, and that's where we're going to try to get towards. Now, cities are all producing different things, but every city needs everything. To check that out, we head over to this tab, and you can see basic goods, demanded goods, export and craft, and quality goods. These are all different categories, and as you go from top to bottom, you can see the goods that are sort of the bare necessities, then onwards to more advanced desires, and then the more high-end wants of the people. As a settlement gets more populous, the needs will increase as well. So a small city will only need some of the basic goods, but as the city gets bigger and bigger, they're going to start wanting, ceramics or fancy clothing or pastries or whatnot. So that's the balancing act there. As a city gets bigger, it has to be provided with more goods. So with Port Royale, we're going to want to get more jobs going, and we're going to want to ensure satisfaction is high. That way, the inhabitant count can head towards that 3,000 goal that we have, and then we can build that shipyard, and then we can start acquiring more ships, and then we can have an entire fleet going around trading extremely actively, right? Like, so our simple goal of getting that shipyard involves a couple of steps to get Port Royale, in ship shape, as it were. Wow, I don't know if I'm gonna stop, folks. they just happen. All right, so let's go ahead and establish some business over here, because like I said, there are some unemployed people right now. If we establish a couple of businesses, not only will we have the opportunity to make money off of that, but we'll also provide employment and draw more people here. So the unfortunate situation, we're lucky that sugar can be made here, because that makes it easier for getting rum established. And the unfortunate thing is that we cannot harvest any of the wood over here. It is just not possible at Port Royale to cut the trees. Must be not the ideal type of tree for construction use or whatever it might be, right? It can easily be logicked, but it's just not an option over here. So we will eventually have to import wood. The other thing is that as much as I'd love to just establish a rum distillery right off the bat, I can't. I need to get a concession. This man over here is our viceroy. He's the head honcho of our nation in this part of the world, and he is situated at Santo Domingo. From time to time, he will give us missions. He will notify us of issues, things like that. But beyond that, it is from him that we get concessions. Concessions, such as one for the rum distillery, are purchased through fame points. And fame points are earned in a couple of different ways. Fame points are earned either by accomplishing missions of certain types, or by delivering specific types of goods to Santo Domingo so that they can be shipped back home. By which I mean, back in Europe. So to get that rum distillery, first we have to get 2 fame points, because we have to first get a rope yard concession and then get a rum distillery concession, and only then can we establish the rum distillery at Port Royale. So it's some time before we can do that, but all good, because we do want to establish our own sugar cultivation as well. If we are producing our own sugar and we are using our own sugar to produce our own rum, it's all it's all an ecosystem. It's a closed ecosystem is what we're trying to build. Now, as you can see, it is a hex-based system for putting things down. I'm likely going to keep this coastal area for residential purposes. There is a system of, certain buildings impact other buildings when they are within a radius or adjacency and things like that. So a lot of that is going to happen up front over here. So back over here is probably where we're going to establish our sugar cultivation and eventually the rum distillery as well, away from the housing, because it will upset people to have a farm or factory near their housing. So all the way back up over here, we're going to put down 4 of these sugar cultivations because that will give a bonus to production. But just keep in mind that this also means there will be a major surplus of sugar in the area because there already is a business producing sugar, and we can actually see that. If we click over here, you can see that it's getting, there's a fair bit of sugar already being produced, and we're going to add to that. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Let's go ahead and let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. It does cost us money. It does take resources, wood and bricks in this case. It is very possible that those are already in the area. No, you can see that there are construction materials missing in the town, so we might want to go and bring those, prioritize those construction materials so that these get done sooner rather than later. But as those get done, the job seeker count will drop, and if we can keep satisfaction up, we'll have more workers come through. Now, let's actually start shipping some goods, shall we? Clothing, coal, meat, and cloth are in demand over here because they've been poorly supplied for a long time. So if we can seek those out, then we can probably help with the satisfaction rating. And if at the same time we can pick up some wood and bricks, that would probably not be a bad idea either. Wooden bricks are actually available right over here. And I think we need a fair bit of both of those. Let me just do a quick double check over here. 21 and 128. All right. So what we can do is we can head out and pick up 128 bricks and 21 wood or whatever. The ship that we have only has room for 200 units of goods, so it might be a couple of trips. But I say we go ahead and do that before we invest in these elements over here. Now, an important thing to keep in mind as well is that we are not the only ship at sea, and you will very quickly see that there are countless merchant vessels and military vessels sailing around. We just can't see them because of the fog of war or the fog of trade or whatever you want to call it. But they are zipping around and they are doing exactly what we're trying to do. Take goods from where they are plentiful and buy them there and sell them where those goods are scarce, because that's how the market works. Supply and demand. Go to where a place is producing something or has a lot of it, and then go to a place that still needs it and sell it to them at an exorbitant rate. Let's go ahead and pick up the game speed a bit more so we can actually get some stuff accomplished over here. And what's really neat, actually, well, it looks like we've got a mission assigned already. Let's go ahead and get some work done here first. So we want to get 120 or so bricks, right? So when it comes to buying and selling goods, there's a couple ways to go about it. Right now, I'm doing things manually, and what you generally want to do is you only want to buy goods or sell goods to a point of equilibrium, or the ideal financial approach. If you want to make the most money, that's what you want to do. Because what happens is, you can see at the bottom left corner, the price per unit. You can see how it shifts as you kind of go over that point of equilibrium. There we go. See, you can see how that kind of skyrockets. So you want to make sure that you're getting the ideal deals. But from time to time, you'll be willing to invest in the future. Buy at a loss because you're investing in something else. In this case, the construction of sugar cultivations. I feel like I'm okay with doing that right now. We do have to be careful with our money. We did just invest a lot in those sugar cultivations. So let's just be wary of that. But 104 bricks over here. We'll go ahead and pick up the wood up over here as well, and ship all that down. We might also pick up maybe some fruits or something. You know what I should have done? It would have been wise to actually go from Port Royale to Port-au-Prince with something in my hold. But hey, it is what it is. All good. All good, yes. We need wood over here. We can pick up some fruits as well. Sure, why not? Why not? We can actually trade it for a decent sum, perhaps. One thing to note as well, by the way, is the game. I think this is really neat. You can zoom so far down and see things kind of play out in, well, not real time, but when you zoom in, time slows down, but as you zoom out, time speeds up. But, you know, you really get some really cool moment. That's actually pretty neat. Look at that. It's really, I find it super cool to, like, just be able to come down and see the world in action, you know, see people milling about, see your ships, you know, sailing about, see other ships as well arriving at port. I mean, this is just, it's just cool. I don't know how much time one might spend in this, you know, zoomed in perspective, but it's really cool to be able to do that. All right, let's head on down to Tortuga. Might even speed us up a little bit more than this. Over at Tortuga, let's go ahead and get some of the wood. Sure, we don't need too much. But again, Port Royale does need wood beyond just the construction we're doing as well, so there's money to be made there. And let's pick up some fruit over here as well. Yeah, we can pick all that up, 4,000. Sure. And still didn't kind of like break the equilibrium or anything, as you can see, right? They still have a decent amount of fruit going here. All right, let's head on down. We have a full hold. And again, like, eventually, when we get into the full swing of trading, we're not going to be doing everything manually. There's a whole system of developing trade routes, and you develop them taking into consideration the wind speeds and wind directions, taking into consideration how deep or shallow the water is, because every ship, you know, struggles with deeper or shallower water depending on the kind of ship it is. So there's a lot of stuff to consider. And as we get beyond the phase of having one ship and micromanaging it, we're going to be using some of those automated systems to, you know, to perfect things, as it were, to make sure things are flowing smoothly across multiple ships, across multiple convoys. And at that point, things start to get, you start to really dial down on some of these numbers. And wow, look at that! Still able to bring more bricks and wood down here. And net a hefty profit. But yeah, so that's when you start to kind of like dial down and establish entire routes, and you avoid silly mistakes like the one I made going from Port Royale to Port-au-Prince without any without anything in my hold. But okay, since we are here, well, why don't we do that trip again? These guys still need these things, eh? Supply of commodities, you can see the satisfaction is dropping. So sure, how about we go ahead and focus on this a little bit? Might not be a terrible idea. So clothing, coal, meat, and cloth. Clothing, coal, meat, and cloth. Might have to trade with... Ooh, there's some clothing over here. Cloth, coal, cloth and meat. Clothing over here. Bricks down here. Bricks, tobacco, and corn over here. Sure, how about we come on over here, pick up some of the coal, pick up the cloth up over here, and pick up some more cloth and meat over here. And if we still have room in our hold, we can come all the way down over here to pick up some more cloth and maybe even some clothes and meat. Again, as you go to one place and buy things, they're gonna, you know, run out, and that equilibrium might be broken, so you might go to the next spot over if it's nearby and pick up the remaining all, right? So that's why it's not a bad idea to go to a place where things are densely packed. So sure, let's go ahead and unpause. The wind, I think, is with us. Indeed it is. We'll use that to speed us up. But yeah, when you're planning trade routes, you know, you take into consideration wind directions, the, you know, how shallow or deep the water is, which ships are in a convoy, what they're picking up at a certain spot, what they're dropping off, things like that. It gets really in depth, and I'm super excited to get into all of that when the time comes. But for now, because we only have the one ship, we're just going to start a little, you know, manual approach, just to show how the numbers work and how everything flows. Also because while you can get very specific with the automation, I like having this level of control at the beginning, because I can make those quote-unquote bad decisions, which are actually for, you know, an alternative approach, like buying things when they're more expensive, only to because I have another plan for them, or things like that, right? So let's go ahead and just pick up the whole. Yeah, sure. Man, that's all we have room for, eh? And I made a silly mistake over here. I should have checked what these guys needed and brought that over. Well, okay, let's not overdo one thing. Let's pick up 100 of you. Let's go ahead and drop off some fruits. Okay, we got lucky. They needed fruits, so we'll say that was intentional. Make a little money there. And let's go ahead and pick up, I believe that's actually everything over here, right? They have some clothing, but you can see it's below that 2 pip level, so it's not an ideal spot to buy from. Let's just ship on up to Seville and pick the cloth up there, and maybe even go down over here for the meat as well, right? Go ahead and pick the speed up a little bit. Let's see. Cloth over here. And actually what I should do... Pick up 100? No, let's pick up just 50 of you. And what I should do is I should also check to see what these guys need. Fruits, grain... What do these guys produce over here? Vegetables, cotton, beer. Vegetables... These guys have... Beer, these guys don't have. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and pick up some beer over here and we'll ship it down. These guys are producing beer, but they don't have any in their storage right now, so it's pretty expensive. So, no thank you. What was the cotton, right? I guess we can pick up some cotton and drop it off over here. Sure. Let's not take too much, though. There we go. Just about 38, sure. Hopefully we'll make a profit off of that. Ship on down to here, drop the cotton off, pick up some meat, perhaps. So we have, again, a variety of goods is a good idea. But where are we? Yeah, so there's the meat, but first we want to drop off the cotton. Cool. Part of me wishes I'd written down, like, part of me wants to write my purchase and sell prices just so I can keep a track of when I've actually made a profit versus, you know, slipping my mind. But yeah, let's go ahead and pick up the meat over here. Fill our hold up. We have very little money right now, but that's all right. Because now we're going to head back home. Oops. Deselected my ship over here. We're going to head back home. We're going to drop all that off and hopefully make a pretty penny while we do. Hopefully other merchants haven't already delivered those in-demand goods. That would be a problem. That would be unfortunate. Now, while we're shipping over, I just want to point out the Viceroy earlier, I think I mentioned, did give us a... Oh, we were given a mission that we're already fulfilling. You probably have noticed that bricks is a scarce commodity in our towns. I wish that you will change this and produce a total of 97 of this commodity per day by March 14th. No. I'm sorry. I misread that with my quick glance. That is most certainly not what we're doing. He's asking us to...
I have a task for you.
He's asking us to establish businesses that will produce 97 bricks per day. We have no interest in a brick economy, so we can just ignore this task. We don't have to do it. It's not going to hurt us. We can just ignore it. So, Port Royale. Insufficient living space. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Our sugar cultivations got built. So all the job seekers have jobs, and now people are trying to migrate in. The population's going up, but I need to build some residential spaces as well. Okay, we need to get on that, so let's hope that this stuff brings us some good money, because residential spaces are expensive. Go ahead and do that. Good stuff. Drop off the meat as well. Yep, excellent. Loads, there are some here, but we can still drop our full haul. You can see how the price drops significantly, right? You see that at the bottom left corner? So it really does become a little bit about fine-tuning. When you're focused on profits, surely on profits, just a little to the left, a little to the right can go a long way. Ooh, this is always... Oof. Okay, that's unfortunate. Not the end of the world. We can surely sell it somewhere else, but 35k is enough for us to establish a residential sector over here. Or... rather, what I should probably do, I need to build a small church, because a town cannot have more than 2,000 citizens unless there is a small church. Suppose we do that. Now, it does act like a chapel as well on residential buildings, and what a chapel does is it allows a residential building to have more than the normal number of people. alongside a tavern, I guess. So let's go ahead and get this small church established over here, and then the housing can be established further out over here. That is unfortunate. I actually don't have enough money for the church. Do have enough for the residential area. And we do still have some room. Sure, so let's go ahead and establish this first. This will be over here. We're going to have like a tavern or something up over here. We don't want to build housing in this area, because as you can see, the people will be upset. Easy to get to work, but upset at living near, you know, these kinds of industries. We can go ahead and establish you. Let's see if we're over here. This will be a bit more efficient. Working up there. That might not be a terrible idea. It might not be a terrible idea. And then we can get the, well, no, because the church has to be built over here, so we might as well take advantage of that. Let's stay close to the coast. Pop you down over here. Very expensive, but hopefully worth it. We only have... it's not a lot of money. But it's okay. You got to spend money to make money, right? So that should help us. 240. That will take us to our 2K limit. We'll have more. Yeah, you know, I should have saved up for the church, actually. I should have saved up for the church, but not the end of the world. Let's see. What do we got on here? We got the coal. Let's try and sell some big ticket items. Over here, they're not going to need coal. They produce it. How about up over here? Do you guys need coal? You guys do need coal. You can go up over here, drop it off, 121 a piece. What else do you need? You need grain, you need sugar. We could pick up some sugar over here, drop it off. Beer as well, I believe, right? Let's go ahead and pick up some sugar. Sure. Make our way up to Santiago, and hope this nets us a decent profit. Might have spent maybe a little bit too much. A little too eagerly, but we'll bounce back. Right, so what are we doing here? Coal gets dropped off. Stuff, that was good money. Pick up some sugar as well. Where are we? Sugar. There we go. A little bit of money made. Every little bit counts. So actually, since coal sells so well over here, and we barely made a dent in its demand, we can head on over to here, pick up some coal and some of the really fancy production items over here, these luxury items, and we could probably sell them, I mean, nearly anywhere, really. Wow, actually, I take that back. What about up at Tortuga? You guys want some of that good stuff? You have some already. Isabella over here? Or Isabella? Yeah, we could probably distribute it across the board up over here. Also pick up furniture on our way to Isabella. Sure. Let's head on down here. I always deselect the vessel by mistake. Always. Soak in the views as well. Man, it is really... It's so cool to be able to just zoom in like this. At such a scale. I don't know. I think it's wild. Across the world at any point in time, you can just zoom in like that. Or across the, you know, across the map, I mean. The game world. Alright, here we are. Pick up some of that coal. Yeah, good stuff. So we can do that. Yeah, it sounds reasonable. Well, it looks reasonable. We can also pick up these guys. If we sell them at a good price, we should get... I don't want to make myself bankrupt on this purchase. We can sell them at a good price. I'll be very happy. Head up over here, see what we can do. Because these guys will probably need coal as well. Yeah, not as much as Santiago, but still at least a little bit. If it's the more efficient option, we'll go with it. End of the Portuguese dynasty. The King of Portugal, Henry I, dies childless and ends the dynasty of the House of Avis. As he had originally been low in the line of succession to the throne, he aspired to a religious career to represent Portugal's interests in Rome. When he ascended the throne as cardinal in 1578, he asked Pope Gregory XIII to release him from his vows in order to be able to marry and to produce an heir. However, Gregory XIII refused this request to avoid upsetting Philip II of Spain. I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but there's actually a checkbox or a setting to show or hide historical events. I kept it on for obvious reasons. I love this kind of stuff. It doesn't really have an impact, but it's interesting stuff, I think. All right, cool. I almost said good stuff, but someone just died, so I don't know if that's the right thing to say. Let's go ahead and drop off. How much can we make over here? Not a lot. Not a lot. How about these? Oh yeah, look at that. That looks... We made... I think we made a little bit of money there. I could pick up some furniture over here. Sell it further down the line. Sure. We are low on money. Like I said, spend money to make money. We're okay. We're okay. Any second now, we arrive at Isabella. Hopefully over here we can drop off some coal. There it is. Drop off some of the furniture as well. Oh yeah. Wonderful. And drop off some of these luxury items as well. Nice. That's a lot more comfortable. Cool. Okay, so that's a decent setup over there. Ooh, what's this? We got a mission over here. An old shellback is sitting and offers a piece of a treasure map, which is up for sale. 2,500, I could have a piece of a treasure map. The treasure map is sort of collectible items that you can pull together to... It's sort of a... Think of it as a side mission, I guess, alongside these statues options as well. Find all statues with the help of treasure maps to gain additional fame. That's the, long play between the treasure map and the statues. And actually, since we're on this screen, I should touch on maybe the tactics over here. These we'll see perhaps a little bit in one of the later episodes as we get into the turn-based naval battles. We'll be using some of these tactics to our advantage, hopefully. And then finally, there's also objectives. You don't have to do these. These are, because we're playing the free play mode. So it is, I mean, while there are things to worry about, like money, it is a bit of a sandbox. So you can let things expire, let new objectives come through as well. Yeah, just, have a good time. That's my personal draw, is building personal objectives and trying to establish or trying to accomplish those with a free game mode like this. All right, sorry, where were we? Right, do I want to... Yeah, let's pick up the treasure map. Why not? But if we're going to go down there, we should definitely buy some stuff en route. There's rum, ceramics, coffee, and fruit. Let's see. Fruits we could bring in. Rum, for sure. Ceramics. Yeah, sure. Why not our first rum run over here, as it were? Why not? Why not? Make sure we don't pay too much for it now. There we go. Pick up some fruits as well, perhaps. Ooh, we can pick up a lot of fruits. Go with 100. And let's go ahead and ship that down, shall we? Because again, we gotta have enough money to actually buy this treasure map piece. Head down over here, sell all of that. Looks like we still have, yeah, we need a small church now. Really ought to focus on that next. Drop the fruit off over here. Sure, let's go until the price drops to 64. There we go. And the rum can be dropped off here as well. Oh, look at that. You can even pick up more rum to drop off over here, make a pretty penny. Might not be a terrible idea. Alright, let's see. Going all the way up to Isabella for rum. I feel like that is the closest place it gets produced. I mean, this is obviously, it's obviously farther than Isabella. We can also check down south, obviously. A lot more land down here. Nah. Yeah, okay, looks like this is the route we'll probably be taking. So if we go from Port Royale up to Tortuga, what does Tortuga want? Sugar, beer in like middling quantities. What are we producing here? We got pastries. Pastries, cotton, sugar. Sugar. Cotton. Pastries. Like a little bit of everything, I guess. A little bit of everything. What does Isabella want? Sugar, yeah. Cotton. Pastries, yeah. A little bit of everything. Sure. So let's go ahead and... first of all, let's go ahead and purchase this treasure map piece. Be a small piece over here. We'll get the rest in due time and in various ways. Let's go ahead and now buy... Alright, so some sugar. Don't want to overdo one item, right? Sugar. Some cotton. It's all stuff that we produce in this area. Yep, sugar and cotton. And some pastries. Can't buy that many pastries. Probably should have focused on the pastries first. Just because it's it can net more money, but all good. Head on over to Tortuga. Again, drop some off here. Drop the rest off at Isabella, because, again, the prices shift for every piece that gets dropped off, right? No, keep moving, keep moving. We don't have time for you to sit still. Yeah, money is still flowing, though. Again, we spend 100 per day on this convoy, just in, like, ship maintenance costs and whatnot. But our businesses and stuff will be making money as well, selling sugar to the town itself, and when traders come through and buy sugar from Port Royale, we're making money off of that as well. It really is quite wild how integrated and deep that kind of stuff works. If you saw my previous video on the channel from a couple of months ago now, when I had the opportunity to interview the devs, my mind was blown by some of the concepts that they were talking about in terms of, like, the options that are available and how the economy works and it is an active economy. Like, mind blown. So I'm really excited for, you know, to see how far we can push it with this plan of ours, again, with this Rum Empire, right? Down to Isabella over here. Pick up some rum. Hopefully we can sell the rest of our haul off over here. Where are we? Sugar. Oops, that's vegetables. Sugar. Oh, good stuff. Fruits they have plenty of because they're producing it here. Cotton, can we dump the rest here? Not the best. Sure. Drop that off. Rum. Pick up. Until that price goes up from 118. There we go. Let's pick up that much. And let's hope that we get a good sale. I could also get some coffee over here. Here's why I'll do. Here's why I'm doing that. Let's go ahead and pick up some coffee. Sure, let's go with 39. The reason why I'm doing that is because our Viceroy wants coffee to ship back home. I think I mentioned, you know, this stuff earlier. So if we can at least start working on this, we can start working towards these fame points, because we need that to establish our future businesses, right? Like the rum distillery, like I was mentioning with the concessions. So I figure we could maybe... That's a long way around. That's a long way around. What are we carrying here? Alright, let's go ahead and drop the rum off at Port Royale first. Maybe even at Port-au-Prince, let's see. You guys need rum? You do. Let's try it over here first. Try it over here first. Come on, come on, here we go. Give me that sweet, sweet money, come on. Good stuff, wow. That's not bad. Can we drop anything else off? Yeah, the fruits can be dropped off here as well. Nice. The cotton. Sure. Beautiful. And the coffee, I mean, we could drop some of it off over here, but let's not get distracted. Let's head over to Santo Domingo and drop that coffee off. The first of many such runs as we try to gain some fame. It's going to be absolutely crucial for our long-term plans, especially in the short run over here. So you'll see as we drop coffee off. Wow, that's good money. At times when you drop the goods off, you won't make as much money because they'll already have it available locally and whatnot, but you will still gain... Are you here to offer your aid to me? No, I'm not. I'm here to look at the fame here. You can see, yeah, we've made progress there. We've gained a little bit over here. We got to get all the way to the end to actually earn a fame point. So we're working away. We're working away. And this actually... if I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly, this number increases over time. So the more famous you are, or rather the more fame points you have, the more you have to work to get more famous, if I recall correctly. Oh, and you can see right down over here, applying for town administration that I was mentioning earlier. That's why you need to have businesses established so you can have workers in a town and then say, hey, you know, enough of the people working here are working in my business, maybe I should administer this town after all. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can't make that last little bit of money we need to establish a church. How much was a church again? To remind me, small church is 45k. Or closer to 46. We're almost there. We're almost there. Would very much love to have that established today. So what do we have at Santo Domingo? These guys are producing fruit, corn, sugar, and ceramics. Okay, well, ceramics we should be able to sell. Ceramics, okay. Over here, I mean, back at home as well, we should be able to sell ceramics, I would imagine. Yeah, wow, yeah, okay, let's go ahead and do that then. Let's see if we can't get a full haul of ceramics. See how much it costs. Probably not a full haul. Oh, no, not a full haul. We can get, sure, 44. Anything else y'all have a lot of over here? Fruits, corn. Yeah, we can pick up some fruits. Sure. Hopefully that will net us a profit. Head on over. We'll drop some off over here first. Maybe pick up some of the luxury items, and then drop everything off at Port Royale. And again, we don't have to, as you've seen, we don't have to drop things off at Port Royale for it to, you know, for us to invest it in a town. Any money we make, we can invest in any town that we are, where we have construction rights, or where we're the administrator, right? So just want to clarify that. Drop all of this off over here, okay? And pick up, or rather drop off some of the fruits as well. Sure. There we go. We can pick up these guys. Made us a good bit of money last time. Go ahead and pick up. I really hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot with that purchase. Might be. Push us forward, wind. There we go. I can't wait to get into actually planning all the trade routes and stuff as well. The stuff gets really intense, in a super exciting way. All right, drop all the fruits off over here, and come on, make me that sweet, sweet money. Oh, that hurts. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Other places will buy it too. Up at Santiago. Sell a little bit. Sell a little bit. I don't want to move too far. Sort of staying in my closed network over here for now, so that our travel times are reduced and we can stay focused on making money faster rather than going long haul journeys. Please, come on. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Still gonna net a profit, just a matter of how long it'll take us to get there. Head up to Baracoa over here. Even loop back to Tortuga afterwards. Oops. Let's see, drop you off. How many can we sell here? All right, a little bit more. Now, what I should be doing is maybe I should pick up some coffee over here because it's so cheap. Let's see, price goes up to 129, eh? Yikes. I'm trying to save up for something. That's why I'm so hesitant to be more actively trading. Head on over here. Sell some of the luxury items. Maybe pick up some furniture or something. Ooh, this will be good. There it is. The coffee, obviously, we can't sell over here because they produce it over here. We could buy something to drop off elsewhere. Metal usually is a nice money maker. Pick up some coffee as well. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and pick up some coffee. Pick up some of the metal as well. And we're almost guaranteed to make money off this stuff. I say almost because I don't want to jinx myself. Down over here. Come on now. Speed it up by zooming out. What can we drop off here? Metal. I suspect right off the bat. Where are we? Metal. There we go. Okay. Sure. And the coffee. Coffee, yeah, we can drop some of it off over here. And the rest we'll be able to drop off back at Port Royale itself. Wow, our population skyrocketed nicely. Honestly, I didn't expect us to grow so quickly. I would have planned ahead for that church sooner had I realized that was going to happen. Drop the rest of the coffee off over here. Now let's dump it all. And with that, we have enough money now to establish the church. We'll put it down over here, I think. We have a little bit of a further reach into the residential area. Let's pop you down over here. And with that, we need 6 bricks. And then it'll get completed. It takes a couple of days to complete a construction project. But once it is done, we'll be able to have feasts, missions, and we can just pray if we want to as well. But what matters most to us right now is that we're going to be able to surpass that that worker limit. Look at that, though. We've got overall, apart from the population's situation, satisfaction is quite high. That's great. We're hitting that 2,000. We want to hit that 3,000, though, again, so we can have a full-on fleet. But as you can see, we need more business for that. We need to establish more businesses here. Now, our sugar business over here is enabled. It costs us almost 2,000 a day, but we are producing a ton of sugar. And again, every time the town itself buys some, or a trader comes through and picks some stuff up from our business, we are making money off of that. And if we take a look at our, I don't know if I really want to look at our balance sheets or anything right now, but we can see, we can see how our businesses and stuff are affecting and impacting our financial circumstances. You know what? These graphs are actually making me feel a lot better than I thought they would. Things are going pretty well already, actually. Things are going pretty well already. We are probably going to establish that the shipyard, get the exact name. Yeah, the shipyard. Very soon. We'll hit that 3K soon. I think what we need to focus on next is getting those fame points by delivering to Santo Domingo the goods that they want to ship back to England. Get those fame points, and then we can start establishing our rum distillery and actually get the rum flowing. The Port Royale rum, or whatever we want to brand it as, and that'll hopefully, get us going in the right direction. But folks, that is all stuff we'll be exploring next time. This is where we're going to call it a session over here. The next session will be releasing tomorrow at the same time. So make sure you tune in to see how we develop and how things progress. I'm actually really quite pleased with where we ended up over here. Doing better, I'll be honest, doing better than I'd anticipated in terms of helping the growth of Port Royale. So next session, I'll definitely pick up the pace with regards to the successes, and we'll probably set up a rum distillery. We'll probably increase our fleet to more than just one ship, and really get into setting trade routes and stuff as well, like going in there and making these trade routes is such a huge part of the game as well. Just establishing, where you want the ships to go, and customizing these trade routes and figuring out ideal timings and ideal goods to pick up and drop off. All that sort of good stuff will happen, I think, next session when we really kind of dive into all this stuff. Let's go ahead and delete that route. We don't really need it right now. But yeah, folks, just as a reminder, if you have enjoyed what you've seen, if you're curious to learn more about the game or perhaps even pick it up, please don't hesitate to use the link I've got in the description down below. It'll also be in the pinned comment down below, where, again, you can go to learn a bit more about the game and perhaps pick it up as well if you're interested. Again, this kind of stuff absolutely fascinates me. I hope you've enjoyed this showcase as well. If you have, then don't hesitate to let me know. As always, leaving a like and a comment down below makes a massive difference in letting me know what y'all would like to see more or less of on the channel. So if you're interested in more Port Royale 4 beyond this mini-series, let me know. For now, though, folks, as always, a massive thanks goes out to all of my channel members and patrons for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time. Cheers.